Today we talk about the lens, will ya? Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and today I'd like to discuss with you a very sensitive topic, which is what lens are we gonna find on the Leica Q3 that is soon to be released, because I was thinking about the lens that we have on the actual Q2, which is the same that we had on the original Leica Q, which is a 28mm semi-lux. Semi-lux in the Leica environment normally means max aperture f1.4, while this is only f1.7, but still it's a very good lens. The quality of this lens is to be appreciated because, especially for the bargain price of this camera, with the same price you would pay for a M lens, you have a semi-lux lens with a whole camera attached to it. So this is why Leica Q has become very popular. And I use it every day, but I don't think I ever heard about a couple of minor issues that I have with this lens and that I hope they will fix on the Q3. I know we are all debating whether we are having still a 28mm or if we can have a 35 or a 50mm, or someone even wants a wider lens like a 21mm. And honestly, in my humble opinion, we are not going that different because the distance from the sensor is given, and so if we are adopting a 50mm, the Leica Q will be far bigger than it is actually, but this is just my opinion. But apart from that, on the Leica Q3 there are a couple of aspects that I really hope, they will fix out of this lens. The very first is the lens distortion. If in your workflow you are using Lightroom, you might not have noticed it because Lightroom imports the raw file already corrected, so same thing that happens with the JPEG. The camera corrects the file so that the horizon is straight, but with a 28mm the horizon is not supposed to be straight because this is a wide lens. You're supposed to have some distortions. You're supposed to see the buildings converging towards the center if you're shooting in street photography, but this camera corrects it right away. So if you're importing the JPEG straight out of the camera, or if you're importing the raw files with Lightroom, you might not have realized what I'm talking about, but if you're using ON1 or Capture One, then you know that if you switch off the lens correction, you will have the original raw file with all the distortion that are supposed to be in there. Is it good? Is it bad? It is just more natural, so maybe in the very end, after you do post-production on your shots, you will end up having this correction so that you can have the horizon very straight, and if you do so, you might eventually use this camera also for portraits, and if you missed the episode about shooting portraits with this camera, you can find it here. But apart from that, I will show you now a couple of examples when importing the raw file into the post-production software. I will either use Capture One or ON1, which are my favorites, and then you see that the distortion that comes from the lens is corrected within the software. You might like it, you might not like it. From time to time, I do not use that correction because it just feels odd, and especially because if you do so, then the lens goes even wider, so the 28mm becomes like a 25-26mm. I didn't measure it, but it goes even wider than 28. This is the reason why some of us purchased the Leica Q2, because if you like shooting very wide and having your subject like passing by, which I do from time to time in street photography, it's a very good help. The second limitation that I see and that I hope they will overcome with the Leica Q3 is that this lens, if you intend to use it for zone focusing, is not helping you that much because the max focal distance here, and then the next step will be infinite, it's 2 meters. What does it mean? If you're using zone focusing like f8, f11, those 2 meters become a range 1 to 3 meters, meaning that everybody in that range will be on focus. Maybe not super sharp, but it is on focus. While with other M lenses and with the M cameras, you have the chance to choose even 5-10 meters, give or take the zone focusing. So a range of couple of meters, more or less, starting from 5. So 3.5 to 6.5 meters. As you can see, it opens up a wide variety of possibilities that you will not have with the Leica Q. Not to mention if you do zoom focusing with 10 meters and maybe you have a 50mm mounted on your Leica M, but that would be a different shooting and a different camera. So now I would like to show you a couple of examples for what I mean, for the lens distortion, of course, and also for the zoom focusing used with this camera, which you can do anyway, you just cannot use it as it's supposed to be, because if you do like that and you only focus on 2 meters, give or take 1 meter, then it's kind of limiting. You can eventually shoot more distant, but you will have to use the point and shoot capabilities if you want to have zoom focusing on this camera. So let me know down here in the comments what you're hoping to see, which lens you are hoping to get mounted on the Q3, and if you got any value out of this video, please remember to like it, share it on your social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye.